Why does stabilizer matter in our pool?
What is stabilizer?
How much is too much stabilizer? Is your chlorine effective? Do you have too much stabilizer in your pool? What is stabilizer? These black dots around here are all black algae. It's going to be a direct correlation with the stabilizer being so high because the chlorine can't become effective. I'm going to show you how to lower your stabilizer level. You saw how it was before we started, right? All the green on it. Yeah. The chlorine in the pool was at 8.5. That's the whole thing with the stabilizer. If the stabilizer was at a 20 and it was at an 8.5, there'd be nothing at all in the pool. As you can see, we got a green pool on our hands. There is some hidden gems in you for this video. First thing we're gonna do is test our chemicals. We're at a 0 for chlorine. What you would expect when your pool looks like this. 7, 6. We're gonna do the alkalinity test. Gonna count every drop. 12, so it's 120 for alkalinity. We're gonna test our stabilizer. So you can see, here's 100. If you get that reading and your stabilizer is actually higher than 100, it's off the charts here. What we're gonna do is we're actually going to get, okay, so you tested your stabilizer and your reading is over 100. What do? So you're gonna take half the sample of pool water and then you're gonna dilute that. With just fresh water. And then we're gonna take from the 7 to the 14, we're gonna put in our cyanuric acid reagent. So we're right around a 50. So we would times that by 2. And we would be at 100. Say the stabilizer is at 100. Why does that matter? Well, the stabilizer in the pool, it slows down the effective rate for the chlorine to work. If the stabilizer was at a 0, every part per million of chlorine is going to dissipate in the pool in 15 minutes. Obviously, 2.5 gallons of chlorine, that's in the yellow jug of it, that's a lot of parts per million of chlorine. So it should last longer than 15 minutes, but it's gonna, every part per million will burn off in 15 minutes. As the stabilizer level goes up from there, it's going to work longer and longer. There's a point of diminishing returns though. As our stabilizer level gets too high, the chlorine is working so slow that it can't effectively clean the pool. And that's what we want the chlorine in the pool for. It's okay if the chlorine level's going down over a week's time or so, because it's working. That's what we want. For educational purposes, if we say that this stabilizer level's at 100, which it's higher, the effective chlorine rate for your stabilizer is always going to be 7.5 times your stabilizer. So if we were to take 100 for our stabilizer and we times that by 0.075, that's going to equal 7.5 parts per million of chlorine. That's what it's gonna take to be effective to clean in the pool. So as we go below 7.5, the chlorine will still work and it will keep it from going green like this. But as soon as it gets, you know, about half of that or lower, this is what we're gonna end up with, okay? So when we add all the chlorine to the pool to bring it back, we're gonna be fighting that stabilizer. So my recommendation was, while the pool's still green and it's not gonna hurt the grass or anything, why don't we pump out some water into the yard so that we can fill it back up, start fresh, have a lower stabilizer level, and be good to go. One Day's Hardware, I bought the most expensive sump pump that they had there. This is like 160 bucks. You just plug it into the wall. It's gonna pump until you unplug it, basically. Very simple. It's nice because it has the garden hose connection, which makes it easy for us because we know that if it takes an hour to get an inch in the swimming pool, it's gonna take about an hour to drain it out. So you can account for that pretty easily. We're here in Florida. We do have to worry about the water table. You can never drain your pool all the way down. You really don't want to drain it past waist deep in the deep end because that water is hydrostatic pressure holding in the pool in the ground. And if you remove that water, there's nothing holding the pool in, and your pool essentially turns into a boat and it can lift out of the ground and float away. You just want to be safe and sorry. You can do this process over and over until we get the right results. We're just going to hook up our standard garden hose. This is a 5/8 hose. If you had a 3/4 inch, it is going to pump a little more water. We don't have that. We're going to put our sump in. Okay, so we're pulling out the water from right here. Now we're gonna turn off the pool. Turning off the pool and taking this on pin off. Right there. I'll brush all this green over to this sump and hopefully suck some of it out of the pool. So we have our sump pump going. This is a 1/2 horsepower sump pump. We're guessing it's gonna be about 4 hours or so. We're gonna lower it down to this second step right here. Then we're gonna turn it off. We're gonna leave the pump off. We're gonna add fresh water, fill it all the way back up, retest it, see where our stabilizer levels are at. Hopefully they're gonna be good by then. We can go ahead and treat it with chlorine. If you have too high of stabilizer and you're outside of Florida, you could more than likely drain your whole pool if you hire a professional and just fill it up with fresh water and start fresh. Here in Florida, it's a little trickier because we have groundwater. We want to be very careful, and you just want to do whatever you can feel comfortable with your pool. A good rule of thumb is in the deep end up to your waist would be the lowest you would want to lower your pool to. Okay, to get wet. You do not want to get your outlet wet. If the deck gets wet, our cords are going to stay dry. And if possible, put them under the roof as well. All right, we're back. We're going to see what the stabilizer levels are looking like after we drain the pool. We drained it down to about the light, or on this side about that second step, filled it back up with fresh water. We came back on Wednesday and we added some cow hypo, about 8 pounds of it. So let's see what we're working with. It'll be 8.5, which is exactly what we wanted to do. Remember our last visit? We said that for 100 stabilizer, the effective chlorine rate is 7.5. So at 8.5, we're looking really nice. At 7.8, 4 drops, 120 alkalinity. This is a telltale moment. So we're right at 100, which is a lot better than where we were at before. Being at 100 means we basically can not drain the pool again. We can go ahead and treat the pool, keep the chlorine level high because that's where it needs to be effective. Let this fall to about a 50, about half what it is, and we'll be in business. So no more tabs or stabilized chlorine until then. As much fresh water as we put in this pool, the quicker that stabilizer level will drop, and then we can also lower effective chlorine rate. So the trick is with this, we do not want to put it on the bottom until our suction is full. Put your vacuum head towards the top of the water, but don't bring it out. It's gonna help it prime. When the jets in the pool start, we know it's ready. Algae is kind of being stubborn. It's kind of sticking to the pool surface. Now, what I would typically do in this scenario is I would actually pour some chlorine in the pool as we're working on it, just to loosen it up a little bit. I can definitely tell the difference where Alex added that chlorine. It's making it where it came off so much easier than it did over there in the deep end. Now they have one of my favorite pool filters for homeowners. Stick around to the end to see which one it is. It is a bulletproof filter that allows you to vacuum it to the filter when it looks like this, and it's not gonna blow back in on you. And I can almost guarantee you that. I should have wrote Pool Care World in the bottom. We're gonna get the walls really good, or as best as we can. Then we're gonna go back over it with just the normal brush it down towards the filter, clean the filter, add phosphate remover, add 2.5 pints of acid, and dilute it down. I'm missing something, but I'll remember. The trick with vacuuming the walls is you're basically gonna keep your hands in the same position and just move the pole up and down. It was draining slow, so that means that filter's definitely clogged up. I'm gonna brush the pool down to the main drain, and then we're gonna show you what we're gonna be adding to the pool. A green pool like this, like obviously there's still some green stuck on the sides. We're gonna start on the deep end. We're gonna brush the walls down one side. Then we're gonna brush the bottom to the middle of the pool back, right where we started. And then we're gonna go around, brush the walls on the other side, and then to the middle of the pool back. So let's get to it. Do diagonal brush strokes when possible. Get that brush out in front of you. Use leverage. Make it easy on yourself. Work smarter, not harder. If you have one of these and this comes out, it goes right in here. It literally was because the chlorine wasn't potent enough to kill it. So it just would grow against the chlorine, because the chlorine's kind of just like, I'm here, but I'm not gonna fight you, type of deal. But we actually vacuumed all that stuff out, just cleaned it out of the filter, did a phosphate treatment so the algae can't grow. Stabilizer's still around like 100, so, but it's manageable. So, we can handle it from here. So all the rain, every time it rains, every time, we get any type of, it needs water, just add a little bit more. Okay, we're back. We're gonna see what the stabilizer level's like. We're gonna run around with our vacuum. We're gonna vacuum the rest of this green. Show you the easiest way to brush this pool. Start here, the walls all the way around. I'm gonna come back and I'm gonna hit the bottom, going to that main drain down there. These bugs. This is what we've all been waiting for, this stabilizer test. Actually want the chlorine to be high, so we're gonna go ahead and use our DPD powder. We got 8 for our chlorine, 7.6. It's at 100 on alkalinity. There we go. So we actually got an 80 when I rechecked it. We got a 7.6 for our pH, we got 100 for our alkalinity, and we got an 80 for our stabilizer. This pool is perfect. So what we're gonna do is we need to figure out what our effective chlorine rate is for that 80 times 0.075. So our effective chlorine is a 6. So we're above our effective chlorine rate, so the chlorine should be doing its work like it should. That's everything we just vacuumed out of the pool. Thank you for watching our video. I'm Spencer, this is Bowie. There's a new video for you to watch right here. Please subscribe right here. If you have any questions, comment in the comment section below and like the video.